Sex and violence. It's the bread and butter for video game content and arguably, like, all entertainment, honestly. It kind of feels like many, if not all aspects of a creative work can usually be boiled down to something gets hurt or something wants to get it on with something else. This is where my brain is at after 100 hours of eugenics, folks. Buckle up, it's gonna be a weird one. Even the simplicity of games that are for all ages tend to have some format of this dichotomy. If it has NPCs, it's gonna have some angle of sex appeal or aggression toward the environment, the world, other NPCs, or players. Of course, it is noticeable and instantly apparent in games like Doom, or Gears of War, or Ninja Gaiden, or Leisure Suit Larry and Honey Pop.
Keep them coming.
But it can be applied significantly more broad as well. It does feel a little weird to talk about lovemaking and fight breaking in a game like Wii Sports, but the freedom to customize your Miis however you want and the action and rhythm of boxing and sports overall does invite these topics into discussion, at least to some degree, right? Sports and action-like movement can be argued to be a subsect of violence or in the very least aggression, simply by having a character be a gender. Any gender brings into debate the relationship and differences between genders and persons. Even if the game only has one character who's a gray blob locked in a gray room, why that blob was chosen to be gray, why it's the information we're being presented with, and why that matters to me as a player matters overall to your creative work.
What is bro talking about? Oh, are you just gonna tell me that Tetris and Mario Bros have some big artistic experimentation and commentary on the human condition and how we relate to others? Yeah, okay, whatever, dude. I'm going back to Candy Crush.
I really like the idea of a frat guy being like super into Candy Crush and game design. It's really funny to me. And like, yeah, I guess games like Tetris and Candy Crush and stuff like that doesn't really have anything I'm mentioning. I guess. You got me. I do feel like blowing up blocks could possibly be considered an act of violence though, or maybe even sexual. Yeah, it's kind of hard to argue my point, I guess, when your game looks like this. But the basis for Mario Brothers is literally a man rescuing a woman and receiving an implied kiss at the end and squishing everything that comes into your path. Yeah, I'm being a little bit hyperbolic, but in theory, you kind of catch my drift here, right? Relation to concepts involving intimacy and or savagery is somewhat the basis of, like, all art and media. Like, storytelling in general, honestly. Real comedy and tragedy, ancient Greek fundamentalism type shit, know what I mean? I never say that. I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry.
They broke my comedy mask.
Real sock and buskin' type shit, and brother. I ain't talking about Balatro.
Adventure! That is the equalizer between these extremes. Exploring the world, finding new themes, meeting new people. It's the in-between to the romance and action that we all seek in our lives. The true spirit of, man, I want to go over there. Or dude. You think I can climb that? I want to climb that tree. I want to go on that roof. I want to run in a stream. The whimsical nature of exploration. It's what life's really about. And oftentimes, games and media fill in the grand map of going out into the world and jumping on stuff with polka-dotted patterns of real human emotion. The subtle romance in between exploring the new world together. The danger and tensions of not knowing where you are in the new land. Real Indiana Bones type shit. Okay, I'll stop.
Hey, who wants to go run in a stream?
What the f? No.
And that's why I'm so confused and conflicted about Motorslice. This half Prince of Persia, half Shadow of the Colossus indie title where all you do is jump and run around a giant monolithic megastructure in a vast desert has me question how art and media depicts how we connect with each other. And I don't think that is even remotely what the game wants me to talk about. I don't think that's even close to what the developers intended, but that's all I've been thinking about since I've finished my 8 hours in it. Split into 9 chapters, but really there's only 7 actual levels, Motorslice is basically exactly what you see on the tin. Each chapter a focused grouping of semi-open-ended platforming challenges, usually with a new mechanic or 2 thrown in, then a large-scale boss fight where you climb and take down an insanely massive opponent machine, a la Shadow of the Colossus style. The story itself is pretty minimal. You get some optional moments to chat with the protagonist, Slicer P, about a variety of random topics and in-game lore. There's a boatload of optional platforming challenges to collect orbs scattered around the world. There's combat with 3 different enemy types and of course the bosses, and that's honestly it. That's the game. You run, jump, climb, roll, wall run, slice machines, learn more about Slicer P and the game's environment and lore. You can sniff her sweaty bare feet, you collect orbs and do challenges, you can use her chainsaw sword to scale walls. Oh hey, no, I'm sorry, do you have a question about anything? Did I mention something you, like, kind of don't understand or caught off guard by? Oh, don't worry about it. I'm going to glance over it without talking about it just like the game did. You can wall jump and chain wall running together. You can be absorbed in the liminal space claustrophobia of being both in a gigantic open space but confined into one unending monolithic tower of Babel. You can pet Slicer P and you can make her doing a Hego face. Okay, alright, okay, listen. I only make videos on games I really love or find profound. If I didn't vastly enjoy this game, this video wouldn't exist. But I just can't fully get past the blatant sexualization of the protagonist given the game wants to be taken seriously. This game is a liminal space powerhouse, and oh my god, the atmosphere is just oozing from every single wall crack and broken window the game makes you climb. In between the serviceable but not amazing platforming is this outstanding aesthetical style of cascading towers, construction yards, machinery, warehouses, deserts. These boxes, hundreds of these boxes, and you can just climb on them. There's no point to it, but if you really want to, you can just hop right on them and just run around to your heart's content. There are constant moments of thinking, what's over there? And then many times you can figure out ways to get over there and just look around, take in the environment, just absorb the game world. Sometimes there's grand vistas of detail you can soak in. You can often look straight down to see previous areas you visited or even look upward to see future areas you're going to play through. There's incredibly good pacing in regards to aesthetic diversity, which you wouldn't think so given the game is all big metal structure in the desert. But there is many moments of going within buildings, caverns, tunnels, over and under passes that provide dark, tight exploration, which feels like a natural break from the expansive, never-ending, scaling, bright, open world. I don't mean open world the genre, I mean literally like things look open in the world. I want to make that clear. The Backrooms movie just came out, dude. This liminal space, late 90s Y2K aesthetic that's been popping up everywhere that I love. This is it! A dystopian sci-fi version of it. This is it. This is the game, man. There's this profound sense of groundedness in its presentation and world. And if this is a vibe you're into, then it's just nailed in this experience. I cannot stress that enough, and I just couldn't get enough of it while playing. The game wants you to indulge in giant empty spaces and liminal space platforming. It doesn't even really push you to do it. It just lightly scratches your brain and goes, hey, see it over there? Then you can jump to that. And usually you can indeed jump to that. Usually. Yeah, that graphic death that looked like a jar of jelly was thrown onto the ground. We love that! The soundscape is usually completely barren, with only the whirring of machines, wind through tunnels, climbing and running noises, and the slight breathing of the protagonist as she jogs and parkours her way through the ruins. When music kicks in, it's only for bosses or the open combat jungle gym areas. The vibes are immaculate, and you really do feel cool while wall running and fence hopping as you slice apart the machines. Dirt and sand effects on the screen build up as you run around and roll in the dirt. The camera is literally a robot ball controlled by the player that provides a light source for Slicer 2P and can manually blink to clear the screen, and you can even get your screen cracked if P lands on it or hits it with something. There is a lot of attention to detail to make the atmosphere feel the way that it does. The camera ball is also like narratively you, the player, and you're like in love with Snipper G or something, and you spend the entire game either aggressively flirting with her or acting like a robot. But I'm like 99% sure that both dialogue options lead to either the exact same or basically the same outcome anyway, and the writing feels like it's kind of written by middle schoolers who are very horny on main. I digress. I shouldn't be mean. I said we weren't going to talk about the sex stuff, I guess. The opening of the video has nothing to do with the content of the video. I'm just yapping. YouTuber more like YapTuber, am I right? There's this game that's been getting some traction lately. It's from like a little budding company. It's like their mascot platformer thing. It's called Mario 64. Yeah, remember Mario 64? How Lakiitu's the camera? Same idea here, except you're a simp foot sniffing version of Lakiitu. That's the game. That's who you are. Aren't you lucky? Don't you feel good about that? I actually really like how the camera system is diegetically explained. That's actually really cool. I'm just, never mind, I'm fine. Ignore me.
What are you doing?
This grounded approach to presentation and attention to detail makes moments moments like this insanely deep fall when you Splatoon to your death, or when you're sliced apart by a trap or an enemy machine, or blown up by the stupid mines. It makes it all feel real. It really sells the stakes and tensions of your climbs and provides weight to the feeling of a missed jump. It's real, it's raw. The potent, punctuated, visceral imagery of a body exploding onto concrete pavement really feels like a realistic and suitable punishment to a mess up to your climb. Remember how when you fell off the map in Bioshock Infinite, you just get teleported back to the top instantly with like no penalty? Yeah, no, this game you see the entire fall to her death and it is horrifying to witness. It does feel like a little bit of Conker's Bad Fur Day, you know, when he explodes into blood and guts from high falls, or all the death scenes in general in that game. Maybe I'm a little bit biased towards that cartoony over-exaggeration. When you slice open a machine, the oil from it instantly drenches your character, and I just love that visual over-the-topness to how it depicts beings being broken apart. Whether it's human or machine, they're all just piles of parts and goop. Despite the gratuity of these deaths, I still feel it is very appropriate to the type of feeling the game is going for. Little drips of realism despite the sci-fi setting it's trying to sell. Soda Mice is not as expressive and free-form in platforming as something like Pseudo Regalia, and it's not as intense in its free-running difficulty and level design like the Big Catch Tackle Box, which are the two contemporary indie games I'd compare it to, but those are cartoony, fantastical platformers. I would argue that they are the peak of the free-running how do I climb that type games at the moment, but Pizza Slice stands out by being more realistic and atmospheric in its approach to just running around and jumping in a world. Okay, fine, let's talk about the sex stuff. A cleavage scene, a foot fetishization scene. Nearly every single break scene has an option for promiscuous undertones. She blushes when you zoom the camera in on her. There's so many butt angles in the game, dude. She can step on you. You can poke her in the main menu. You can mess with her during cutscenes, which you get achievements for doing these things, by the way. Why can you zoom the camera in on her? Why isn't there a first-person mode so you can see where you can get a better view of your surroundings? You know, like every other 3D platformer in this style? Did they seriously make a mechanic and assign a dedicated button to it so you can stare at their cute character instead of prioritizing gameplay in a platformer? Are you fucking for real, dude? The marketing for this game hyper-focused on the cutesy, low-key, dehumanizing infantization of their protagonist, showing her being cute and suggestive and focusing on that to go viral in their marketing. Even going so far as to thank the algorithm gods in the credits of the game, which, you know what? That's fine. That's fair. Honestly, that's okay. Do your thing. I put the words cat sex in big, huge, bold, flaming letters in my last video. Who am I to judge? I think Pseudo Regalia is borderline a perfect platformer, borderline a perfect video game. And there's some reasons outside platforming that some people might be into the game. Game recognized game, I guess. But Pseudo Regalia doesn't compromise the fucking gameplay or character just to do some cutesy, nonsensical dialogue moments.
Good orb. You always obey me.
What is this, dude? Why? You know, I originally thought that the game was going for some sort of artistic juxtaposition between these floating scenes and the man-made eldritch being-esque omni buildings that you scale. You know, the idea that despite this world of metal grinders and concrete slabs, the robots have learned to be human in love and whatnot. You know, like Nier Automata.
This thing's weird, 2B. Let's kill it!
Which the opening of the game directly references in its dialogue and the game's premise and the character's name. And she even shares the same voice actress as 2B. Oh my god, did this game like blow up on social media and then someone either contacted her or maybe Kira Buckland herself went, oh hey, that's like Nier, I could be a part of that, that'd be fun. And then she joined the project. Is that what happened? Is that what happened? That's fine. That's how things go now. It's whatever, it's fine. Digital Circus is in Fortnite, that's cool. That's not bad. It's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. I'm just being jealous because I would love to work with Kira Buckland on one of my projects. She's one of my favorite voice actresses. It's cool. It's cool. It's fine. We can sniff the feet. We can unleash the freak. It's all good. There's this indulgence that the game creators have in then doing whatever they want and whatever they like for their artistic work. And I honestly respect that. I applaud that philosophy. You're making a cool platformer about killing machines? You want to play as a cute girl? You want the player to simp for her? Hell yeah, brother, just throw it in, throw it in. As a fellow creative, I respect that unfiltered, I like this so it's going in the game element that we're seeing here. But this stuff man, it just completely takes me out of it. You've been doing a Star Wars reference, guys? Why? Come on. It feels like P is diluted down to just a sex object at worst, or a doll to show affection to at best. Nier Automata does the same thing with 2B, and then it flips that problem back at the player, since its grand reveal and one of the major twists of the game is that 2B is more than just a sex object. She's more than a medium for virtual violence, and the game calls out the player directly for treating her as such. You should feel bad for how you view 2B at your first impression. Nier works because it manipulates you with its sex appeal and violence to tell a compelling story about why humans engage in sex and violence. It's fantastic. It is crystal clear Nier is one of, if not the biggest inspiration for this game's story and world. Video games in general parade themselves on the obscene, using graphic violence, sex, drugs, and other forms of rock and roll as the topic and language for their interactivity. And Nier Automata challenged that directly and shined a light on just how inhumane that is. Why we do that, how we can try to overcome it, and why it's okay to be a flawed being in this imperfect world. No More Heroes touches on these ideas too, but that's not really nearly as relevant. I'm just making sure I bring it up in another video so I can make my yearly quota bringing it up for no reason. Oh, wait. Remember Killer is Dead? Another Suda51 game? Remember the weird, going on dates and seeing through women's clothes minigame that it had? Gigolo mode, as it's called. And everyone was like, well, why is this my bloody cel-shaded hack and slash game have a gigolo mode? Aren't I supposed to be like an assassin or something? I'm not saying Motorslice is doing that per se, but kind of feels like we're getting pretty close to it, guys. So when you have a game like Motorslice, take direct opening cutscene, story pacing, world setup, and premise inspiration almost beat for beat from a beloved creative work like Nier Automata, but Motorslice is not only saying the polar opposite of what inspired it, but is openly kinda what your inspiration is mocking? What does that mean? What am I supposed to glean from Motorslice? What on earth is supposed to be my takeaway from this experience?
Bro, just play the game. Why the fuck are you making a big deal out of this?
Yeah. At the end of the day, video games are toys and we should be devoid of higher thinking. Sure, whatever, man. But actually kind of care about video games, about this video game. And I'm going to approach Motorslice with the thoughtfulness and respect I believe it deserves. Guy I made up in my head to get mad at? I feel like I've seen arguments like that somewhere within the ethereal video game discussion space, you know? Should I not worry about artistic merit? Should I not care about gameplay intention? Do I not have street savoir-faire? Notice how I didn't talk about any of the bosses in the video, a major element to the game. They're good, they're cool. They don't hit as hard as Shadow of the Colossus, but they hit pretty good. They're like the best part of the game. So, there you go. I really like this game, like a lot. I literally wouldn't have made this video if I didn't. The simplicity in mechanics shines through its depth and its level design. It has confidence to just exist in a space without needing the player to actually do anything or have a goal, allowing player-driven exploration and looking further behind the curtain of the game's world and its major themes. And the game's world, man, I hate to be a broken record here, but I've done a little bit of Uber exploration in my time in abandoned places and stuff, and this game, it has the sauce. Dude, God, it brought back so many good memories. It just running around and exploring things is amazing. It just feels so good. But the questions it's making me ask due to its narrative content feels antithetical to what it's trying to achieve. And that is something to think about. And that is something to just consider as a creator, as a player. This game is an achievement in aesthetics and art direction. Legitimately, dude, you had to have looked at the footage in this video and have had moments of just wow. And that's well worth experiencing. But in other areas like the writing, technical aspects, and a bit of the platforming, it just felt painfully amateur. There's literally a spelling mistake here, man. I know it's been patched by the time this video's been uploaded, but how did this get to release? How did this glitch get to release? You know what I mean?
All these gamers are so horny, for God's sakes, I just want to climb on buildings.
This video is a pseudo-spiritual sequel to my silly Poly Beast video. 2 games made by 1 or 2 person teams, both published under Top Hat Studios, about a cute girl doing cool things in a crazy world, both of which I made and uploaded after my genre defining masterpiece videos. That's cool. We like sequels, we like symmetry, whatever. But unlike Silly Polly Beast that had a message it wanted to tell and mostly got there, this game felt, I loved it, don't get me wrong, I had a lot of fun, but I felt wanting from it. I will be there day one for Motorslice 2 or the Motorslice physical console edition, whatever. I will be there. Whatever the creators plan on making next, I'm gonna be there. Cute girl does cool thing is awesome. We love that. But Silly Polly Beast did that and it had something to say. Nier did that and it had something really important to say. Motorslice does it and it gets in the way of itself to appreciate both the cute girl and the cool thing she's doing. It's hard to be attached to a character you're supposed to be falling in love with narratively when they don't act like a character at all but a caricature. It's hard to feel fully cool about whatever bombastically radical parkour you're doing when you get moments like this so often. Motorslice's use of violence was potent, it was strong. Its punches of realism felt heavy and like you truly had stakes and risks exploring this outlandish machine world. But its nonsensical approach to sex appeal just waters down how strong of a package the game could be. Type shit.
Fortnite,